We started with 8 of the best young talents in professional wrestling, and now we are down to just 2. The finals of Lions Break Crown are set. Hi again, everybody. My name's Chris Charlton, and welcome to Finish Strong, where every week we talk you through the highlights of the best hour of pure professional wrestling on the planet. We speak to the big names and give you a taste of what's to come, because strong isn't finished until we finish strong. Yes, here we go. There's your bracket for Lions Break Crown, and the final is now set. Next Friday night, 10 Eastern, 9 Central, Karl will be taking on Danny Limelight to decide who will be the first ever Lions Break Crown winner. But the action this week on NJPW Strong was all about the semi-finals of this unique tournament. Danny Limelight took on Blake Christian, and we talked about last week the heart of Blake Christian winning through. Despite that oblique muscle injury and some ribcage damage, Danny Limelight once again targeted that, and this time even Blake Christian didn't have the heart to win out. Danny Limelight through into the finals this week on NJPW Strong. And then on the other side, it was that submission work again from Clark Connors. He was effective, he was dominant, and the instant he put on that Boston Crab, Logan Regal once again tapped out. Now you have to wonder, does Danny Limelight have an answer to that submission work? Danny Limelight's an effective submission wrestler in his own right. It's all going to make for a fantastic matchup. And in just a little bit, Karl Fredericks, a man, he knows what it's like to be in a young lion-focused tournament. And we're going to be talking to Karl Fredericks and get his thoughts on the final coming up very, very soon on Finish Strong. Karl Fredericks was in action tonight as well, teaming with TJP against Flip Gordon and Brody King this week on NJPW Strong. Now, TJP and Karl Fredericks, a very effective combination. They were a team in the very first episode of Lions Break Collision months ago. Karl Fredericks got his first victory out of Young Lion garb in that match, but this time, Fredericks was absolutely derailed by Big Bad Brody King, and that gave Flip Gordon the opportunity to finish off the match over TJP. And then in our main event tonight, wow, let's go to a little clip here. We talked about Rocky Romero punching above his weight, junior heavyweight versus heavyweights, but this time he punched a little too far above his weight when he was face to face with Hikuleo. Take a look at this and sound up. Oh, it was an ugly, ugly chop from Hikuleo in the opening seconds of this match. But the NJPW of America Hontai certainly did their damage, very effective against Bullet Club, but it's always about the numbers game, and it all came down to the numbers game in the end. Hikuleo able to hit the gunslinger to Mysterioso and then practically pull Chase Owens on top to get victory for Bullet Club. Can anybody challenge Bullet Club's dominance? Well, to talk about the overall landscape in NJPW Strong right now and get his thoughts on next week's Lions Break Crown final, Karl Fredericks joins us right now on Finish Strong. So first of all, I mean, obviously this week things didn't quite turn out the way you had anticipated, teaming with TJP against Brody King and Flip Gordon. Just your thoughts on that match, any reflections, any lessons learned this week?
You know, I honestly, for me, obviously not happy with the outcome, of course, but it was my first time stepping in the ring and getting to square up with Brody. And we've kind of been around we've been in wrestling just about the same kind of came up at the same time, and we always somehow just managed to miss each other. So yeah, it felt good.
Okay, hurting, but the good kind of hurting. So like, yeah. So let's get down to the other thing that came out this week on NJPW Strong, which was Clark Connors making his way to the finals of Lions Break Crown. He's going to be taking on Danny Limelight next week. And what's Clark's mindset going into this match next week, and how's he preparing for everything?
I remember we talked to each other when we first got in the dojo. We didn't really know each other, and we all kind of set goals. And all of our goals were pretty much the same: to get out of these black trunks as fast as possible. Just to get on the we want to be on the roster. We want to be doing these shows, making these moments, making money, doing all that stuff. And he's a different Clark Connors right now, and it's really exciting to see.
In recent weeks, that Boston Crab from Clark Connors, and these guys that it's a fundamental, it's a young line hold, but Jordan Clearwater taps out the second that it's in, and Logan Regal tapping out the second that it's in. Is that something to where, is that the difference between a New Japan style of submission wrestling versus perhaps something learned on the independents, or is that something unique to Clark Connors and something specifically that he's been working on?
I mean, have you seen? I mean, the way Clark does things. He's a very special athlete. For it's that stick of dynamite. There's a lot of power packed into that small package. But then you see he'll hit the ropes and change directions to another. You know what I mean? Like he does all these things, or you see him hit that spear, that tackle, and just the size of his legs. You know what I mean? You get this when Clark has you in the Boston Crab. And he's got those tree trunk legs, and he's got his base, and he buckles down and he sits down. There's just something different about that than your regular and anybody throwing on a Boston Crab. On top of that, like that's Clark's move.
For the guy that comes out of Lions Break Crown next week, what is the step after that? What comes next for whoever the winner might be?
To win, he's gonna have to level up. He's gonna have to hit a new standard for himself, and then afterwards, the good and bad part about that is he's going to have to stay at that standard. So moving forward, he can't just be a young lion anymore. He needs to be the best young lion, and he needs to be that kind of that gray area, ready to step out and move forward. But he can't perform any way that he did prior to this match ever again. If he wins and he proves that, he takes that, he's the man, he's got to be the man, and he can't turn it off.
All right, well, we'll see what happens over the next few Friday nights for Karl Fredericks, and best to Clark Connors as well. Thanks for joining us on Finish Strong.
Thanks, Chris.
So there you have it. Next week, the Lions Break Crown final, Clark Connors versus Danny Limelight. You do not want to miss a second of that. More matches to be announced as well. Head over to njpw1972.com for more details. And the action continues. We're on the final leg. We're on that rush to Ryogoku, past the halfway point in G1 Climax 30. Huge matches coming up in Takamatsu, October the 5th, Kota Ibushi versus Will Ospreay. Then in Hiroshima, October 6th, Tanahashi versus Kenta, and the second night of a doubleheader, Kota Ibushi versus Shingo Takagi for the first time ever. Cannot wait for that one. Okayama, Tanahashi versus Evil. It's the ultimate battle of good versus evil. And then October 10th, Saturday, another first time ever matchup that you do not want to miss. Kazuchika Okada versus Shingo Takagi. We're on the road to the finals. Who's going to be the one? The only way to find out is on njpwworld.com, the king of sports streaming services. So that's it. We've finished strong for another week. Thanks to my guest, Karl Fredericks. I've been Chris Charlton. Next week, whoever it may be, the Lions Break Crown winner will join us on Finish Strong. We're going to get the winner's thoughts. Until then, go kigenyo. Sayonara.